8 billion. 8 billion people on this planet. Do you still feel special? Estimates put the total number of people to have lived over 100 billion. If you were able to count to even just 1 billion and counted one number for every second, it would take you over 30 years to finish. Providing, of course, you didn't stop to eat, sleep, or anything else. How about now? Do you still feel special now? You should. The Bible tells us in Luke that He not only knows us, but has numbered the hairs on your head. Or for some of us at least, the hairs we used to have on our head. If you have a relationship with God, He calls us His children, His friends. He calls us justified, set free from sin and death. He names us His heirs, calls us accepted, a saint, a new creation, holy, blameless, redeemed, forgiven, righteous, beloved, and chosen. How about now? Do you feel special now?
All right, good morning, Zion family. How are we? Oh man, it is so good to be with you. Thank you so much, Pastor Zach, and for all of you. And let me just introduce myself. My name is Ben Johnson. I am the lead pastor at Glory Day Lutheran Church in Des Moines, Iowa. And in funny, small LCMS world, just a year ago, we brought a new associate pastor on at Gloria Day, and he served his vicarage or internship at Concordia Lutheran in San Antonio, who, by the way, is also doing a chosen weekend and partnering with the same location as Zion, so that's really cool. But while he was at Concordia Lutheran in San Antonio, just guess who his mentor supervising pastor was? That's right, you're a pastor. And Christian speaks so highly of you, Zach. And Zion family, you are blessed. You're blessed with an incredible pastor and just a humble man who loves Jesus and loves his church. And we just don't do this enough. But can you join me in giving thanks to God for your pastor? All right, if it's okay, I want to introduce my family to you. You can get to know me a little bit, but I've been married for almost 15 years. I have a daughter who's going into 4th grade. We also serve as a foster home to take in girls with their teen girls with their babies. And let me just tell you, I love Jesus. I love my family. I love my church. And I'm passionate about child advocacy and the mission that God has given to us here on earth. I'm also grateful to be a pastoral ambassador with World Vision as I teach alongside Pastor Zach this morning. And the very things we're going to be encouraging, urging Zion to do. Our church was honored to step into this 2 years ago with a community in El Salvador. Now, many of you may know about World Vision, but in case you don't, let me just introduce them to you. The mission of World Vision is to follow Jesus by serving the poor and the oppressed. And they have been serving the most vulnerable children in this world in the name of Jesus in 100 different countries for over 75 years. But today, I want to bring you sort of the inside scoop of something pretty amazing that's happening at World Vision. There's really this renewing spirit just within the last 5 years that's truly birthing new ideas, and is this big idea that Pastor Zach and I want to share with you in a few minutes. But before then, I want you to imagine a time in your life when someone made a choice for you, when they showed up for you, when they were good in your life, maybe even when your actions didn't deserve their kindness. You know, I remember this time in college. I owned a 1987 Suzuki GS 650 motorcycle. I was cool. This motorcycle had constantly had battery and carburetor issues, and I'm still notoriously bad at reading maps. I'm going to date myself. This is before the age of Google Maps taking you everywhere on the safe blue line, and my dad warned me not to get lost. He warned me. Well, I'm in college and I know everything, so I went off on a long ride, ended up somewhere in Minneapolis, horribly lost. So I called my dad up, and so he busts out his map, old school, right? He finds me on the map. Then I share with him, and my bike won't start. So he drives across town, finds me in Minneapolis, jumps my bike, and then I follow him home. And in that moment, I still remember it. Yeah, he was frustrated, but he made a choice. He chose me. He identified with me right where I was at, because that is what love does, doesn't it? Love is demonstrated in radical identification with another. And you guys have been on a Matthew 25 trip, but I just want to revisit some of those. That in Matthew 25, this entire section from Jesus is about radical identification. Right? It says, when the Son of Man comes in his glory and all the angels with him, he will sit on his glorious throne. All the nations will be gathered before him, and he will separate them like a shepherd separates the sheep from the goats. The king will say to those on his right, come, you who are blessed by my Father, and inherit the kingdom that has been prepared for you since the creation of the world. For I was hungry, you gave me something to eat. I was thirsty, you gave me something to drink. I was a stranger, and you invited me in. I needed clothes, and you clothed me. I was sick, and you looked after me. I was in prison, and you came to me. Obviously, the righteous at this point are going, when did we see you in all of these horrible situations? Like, never once did we see the King, the Son of God, the one on the throne, in these situations. And so they're obviously confused. When did we see you in all of these things? And the King will reply, say it with me, truly I tell you, whatever you did for one of the least of these, my brothers and sisters. So did you catch that? Right at the end there? Jesus said when we feed, clothe, shelter, help the sick, visit those in prison, when we practice radical hospitality, we're not just doing it for the least of these, but Jesus says you're actually doing it for me. To serve another is to serve Jesus. To ignore another is to ignore Jesus, because he has radically identified himself with the least of these to such a degree that he's incorporated himself in their story. You will never go someplace Jesus is not already there. He's not already working, right? I feel like as the church, we're just trying to always play catch up. God, where are you going? What are you doing? Where are you leading? Right? He's always, the moment he walked out of the tomb, he's been on the move ever since, bringing the good news of what he did around the world. Right? See, normally kings would never identify with the lowest in society, but Jesus brought something radically different. Jesus turned the world upside down by bringing his upside down kingdom to earth. And the first pillar of this upside down kingdom is to restore broken circumstances. We are called by the king to joyfully restore broken circumstances surrounding the most vulnerable, impoverished people in the world. It's simple, it's clear, it's direct. Feed, clothe, shelter, help the sick, visit those in prison. We're called to bring real, tangible, and this will fit well in Texas, boots on the ground, help to people in need. But if we're not careful, we can also end up focusing only on that first pillar, which is restoring broken circumstances, and maybe accidentally gloss over the second pillar, which is, to me, the most radical of the pillars, and that is to affirm inherent dignity. Notice what Jesus said. Whatever you do for the least of these, my brothers, this is not just poetic language. This was intentional, powerful. In that one phrase, Jesus affirms their inherent dignity. And here's why this matters so much. Jesus knows that even our best intentions, Even when we truly love and we really, really want to step out there and serve, there's also this false narrative that is laced through our society that can creep in unnoticed. And it's a lie birthed by Satan, which sounds something like, if someone has less, they are less. And if someone has more, they're worth more. And I think if we can all be truly honest, we felt it in our own hearts as well. Right? It's hard to get past surface level. We're a surface level society. Right? But God always sees deeper. And with that one small holy sentence, Jesus completely shatters the lie. He flips it upside down by radically identifying with them. He's saying that when you serve, these are my brothers, my sisters, my kin, my family. How far would you go for your family? What wouldn't you do for your family? Come on, Texas. What wouldn't you do? Jesus says, that's how I see them. They're not just those broken people out there. They're us right here. We're the least of these. They're not just those people out there. It's us in here. We're the least of these who were served. Right? Jesus is saying that just because someone has less doesn't mean they are less. And a person's circumstances do not define their identity of who they truly are. Right? So they bear his image the same as us. And when we truly remember that our identity is not bound up in our circumstances, but in him, and every day he radically chooses us, something powerful happens, and we find the courage to say yes. To say yes. Yes to being restorers. Yes to being affirmers. Yes to being used by God as his hands and feet in this world. To building this upside down kingdom right here on earth as you're doing. And when we say yes to that calling, something else just remarkable happens. It's not just the people we're serving who are changed or communities that are transformed, but our own lives are changed in ways we never saw coming. I want to introduce you to a mom who really touched my life. Her name is Elizabeth, and she lives in El Salvador, and I got to meet her when I went on my trip, which these two are getting ready to go on, right? But I was able to go down. I met Elizabeth. Elizabeth and her family live in a small home on just a little bit of land, very modest, right? Definitely no AC, right? She shared with us how earning money was difficult, and she always worried about having enough food for her little boy, who's about the same age as my daughter. She said there were many days she chose not to eat so that her boy could have a little something to just calm his grumbling stomach. Now, as a father, I can't imagine, right? I was told never judge the shoes of another until you've stood in their shoes. I've never stood in those shoes. Anybody got fridges full? We got the opposite problem in America. We're trying to cut it down, right? I can't imagine not having enough food for my daughter, worrying about where the next meal's coming from. And then Elizabeth learned about this World Vision program, which helps with sustainable food. And while I was there, I learned that the $39 a month, which is to sponsor a child, was being pooled with the other $39 a month from others who are sponsoring children. And the whole community is being blessed with clean water, sanitation, healthcare, microfinance, most importantly, an introduction to the King, Jesus Christ. But for Elizabeth, World Vision helped her learn how to raise chickens. She brought us around to her backyard, and with so much pride in her eyes, she showed us her chickens. I want to show you a short video, and this is Elizabeth showing off one of her prized possessions. Check this out.
Los pollitos no tienen que comer de eso.
No, sí, comen, de hecho. Que los pollitos los apartan porque los aplastan ellos.
Ajá, que ellos le pongan un poco.
Right after that moment, someone asked her, "What do these chickens mean to you?" And she paused for a moment, took a deep breath, swallowing back tears. So every time I see that video, I'm like transported. And she said, "Now I have the opportunity to give my kid breakfast every day. Every day." It doesn't seem like much. But sometimes the smallest things bring hope. And hope is what carries us through this life. In that moment, I saw the heartbeat of what World Vision stands for. Broken circumstances restored, inherent dignity affirmed, people and their whole communities transformed. And today, you have the opportunity to come alongside a child. And not just any child, but a child in Tanzania. And God willing, if there's enough sponsorships, it'll spill over into Mozambique as well. These are beautiful areas of the world filled with beautiful children. And it's no coincidence how God is linking together this beautiful faith community with the faith communities in these areas of the world. And these kiddos are just waiting for sponsorship. They're waiting for hope. I'm so thankful for the vision of Pastor Zach, for your church to go after this God-sized dream. You see, in these countries, it's very basic things that they're struggling with. Very basic things. But today, we're inviting you, each and every one of you, to become a child sponsor. To say yes to sponsoring one of the hundreds of kids in Tanzania. These kids who are waiting, and just like with Elizabeth, $39 a month. I know for some of you, it's nothing. For others of you, that's sacrificial. But if every single Christian in the United States sponsored one child from around the world, we could get this licked. And the way that World Vision approaches it, it's not a smoke show. It's real. I don't know how you'd go about bringing the hope of the gospel in the most tangible ways to areas of the world and to go at poverty in real, tangible ways, but they do. And it restores circumstances and affirms their dignity. Now, typically, how we would approach you sponsoring a child today is you'd walk out into your lobby, there would be tables or poster boards or a bunch of pictures of kids kind of all over the place, and you would kind of mill around, kind of thinking, what child are we going to choose? But in the last few years, World Vision has been praying some big prayers that continue to push child advocacy in new ways to better serve his vulnerable children. And not long ago, God birthed an idea that has turned the world upside down. And he led World Vision to ask a question: what would it look like if for the first time ever this whole thing were reversed? And instead of us choosing a child, the children were empowered to choose us. Check this out.